chewy, gummy bear-like apples, flaky, tender, crispy crust, ooey gooey caramel, everything you want in an apple pie, but better. This is Tarte Tatin. Don't let the rustic French look fool you. This is a really technical dish that's hard to master. No one ever said, oh, let me whip up a Tarte Tatin, and it ended well for them. I'm just kidding, it's fine. I'm gonna walk you through every step from prepping the apples to careful preparation of the caramel, proper baking, and finally unmolding. So Tarte Tatin starts with apples. Not every apple is the same, especially when it comes to baking. For instance, Granny Smith apples are classic baking apple. They are firm textured, quite tart, but once they're baked up, they just take on the flavor of whatever they are baked in. On the flip side, you could use something like a Gala apple, a much softer apple variety. It tends to mush out when you bake it. Firm textured apples have a little bit more water, which is important because their capacity to keep their shape is a little higher. For this recipe, we are going with Lady Alice apple. So Lady Alice is actually a little bit firmer than a Granny Smith. It has a little bit more flavor. It's a little more floral, still has that tart acidity that I really enjoy. For this recipe, we are going with 5 apples. And we start by peeling. I'm not being too precious. I'm just being careful to get most of the skin off. All right, those are our 5 apples, all peeled. In the interest of fitting as many apples as we can into this tart, I actually prefer quartered apples. And now we're gonna take each half and we're gonna square it off. And then now I have something I can stand up, cut this in half to get a quarter, and then follow the line of the core. Some considered knife work. I'm just gonna continue on. And now we have all 5 of our apples fully processed, and these are ready to poach. A common problem with Tarte Tatin is apples tend to get really mushy. Even with a firm textured variety such as the Lady Alice, one solution is to firm these apples up. At certain temperature ranges, say from 140 to 160 degrees, we can activate an enzyme that's natural in these apples called pectin methyl esterase. And that enzyme will act on the cell walls of these apples, firming them up. And that firming effect persists through baking down the line. The process is really simple. We have 2 quarts of water heated to about 160 degrees, a little bit of apple cider vinegar. It also has a firming effect on pectin. Make sure they're pretty well coated. Set a timer for roughly 10 minutes. The last thing is I will just use a lid. You could use a plate to keep these more or less submerged. Every so often, give these a little bit of agitation. Our apples have been poaching for about 10 minutes. I can see that the core has changed some color. It's a little bit browner. And looking at the exterior, there's a faint yellowing, and then there's a slight give, but there's still plenty of rigidity here. So we are in a good spot. In the interest of good practice, we're just blotting these dry. So in terms of arranging these apples, I am overlapping, starting from the outer edge. It looks like I almost can't pack them all in there, but you just gotta believe. They're not quite on their cut side, they're more on their rounded side in contact with the pan. The last 4 of these apples are just going in the center here. A lot of recipes will call for making the caramel, putting it in the pan, and then arranging your apples. If we had started with the caramel in the pan first, we're on the clock because as soon as we lay the apples in, they kind of start sticking to the caramel as the caramel cools down. This way is more user-friendly, so we're gonna keep going. Today we are working with a wet caramel. It gives you a little bit of insurance so it won't seize on you. That's the recrystallization of sugar, and so it becomes like grainy, and it's not a good time. But we are employing a few strategies so that we don't have that happen. This really just starts with sugar, 60 grams of water. This should look like wet sand. Lastly, a little bit of light corn syrup. This is very helpful toward mitigating the recrystallization process. So bring this up to a boil. Initially it starts like a bit fine with like a rolling boil, and then it slows down and you get to these sort of like bloop, bloop, bloops, bigger bubbles. Okay, we're at the stage where we're at a rapid boil. This is as water is being evaporated. You may be tempted to stir at this point. I would advise against that in practical terms. If you start stirring too early, you're just gonna have like a really dirty spatula and it'll like stick everywhere. The bubbling has slowed. For this application, we're actually looking to cook it quite light. This caramel is gonna get hammered. Like we're gonna shove it in the oven, take it out of the oven, cook it again in the oven, and that caramel will darken significantly. We're starting to see some color, and we are just about at 365. Turn down the heat and immediately deglaze with some bourbon. Now you can deglaze with any alcohol here. We effectively stopped that caramelization process. We're bringing this back up to 300 degrees just so that I know that I've evaporated most of the alcohol. All right, we're just about at 300. I'm going to take this off the heat and we're gonna come in with some cold butter. I will also add a little bit of malic acid. Now, malic acid is the natural acid that is present in apples that gives apples their tart flavor. I'm not being super careful to fully emulsify this. I just want things incorporated. All right, so we have our caramel, and now we have to load it into our pan. I do want most of the caramel to be in contact with the pan. Once this comes up to temperature, the caramel will spread to the edges of the pan, start cooking the apples. So we'll create this sort of poaching liquid situation. All right, so this is starting to bubble, and I am going to cover this whole situation. This pot is like the perfect vessel for now. So this is starting to bubble over. As you can see, the liquid level is steadily rising as the water from the apples is leaching out. It is loosening the caramel, and we're beginning to steam/poach the apples. So I'm gonna continue with this covered cook. I'm not looking to fully cook these apples. I just wanna release that liquid so that there is something to actually cook the apples when we put them in the oven. Let's give it a check. And as you can see, we're at a rolling boil. I'm happy with the liquid amount. As another test, they're looking for these to have a little resistance. These apples are ready to bake. In the interest of really concentrating flavor, maximizing caramelization, we're gonna take this extra step and bake these straight in the caramel. First, about 375 degrees with convection for roughly 40 minutes. So we'll come back to these in a little bit. We're rounding the corner on this initial baking phase. Key indicator here for me is temperature of the caramel sauce. 220 and 225 is sort of the sweet spot. I've experimented with going much higher, like 235, and I found that the resulting tart is just quite dark. And as you can see, the tops are a little bit dry. That is expected. This is the perfect opportunity to shape our tart to make it a better result at the end. Carefully move these apples away from the edge. I'm not going to top this with pie dough and then bake it immediately. For one, it would just be sort of a runny mess. Letting this chill even overnight allows the caramel sauce to really infuse into the apples. So I'm gonna let this fully cool down first, and then I'll take a lid, put it on, transfer to the fridge, let it cool down fully. Our apples have been chilled overnight, so let's see what they look like. Most importantly, everything is really well set. In fact, I can just put it over my head. That's not coming out. This is ready to top with our pie dough. For this recipe, we're looking at roughly 290-ish grams of dough. I'm gonna start by beating the dough down. So I'm keeping the square shape intact. We're gonna be cutting this out with a 10-inch pot lid. That cutout will fit perfectly over the apples. One note, puff pastry gives you a great result. Some more discernible layers perhaps. But when you eat it all together, it's not all that different from pie dough. This is a really nice pie dough recipe. You can find it on the website, and it gives really nice flaky layers. It's gonna give us a really nice tarte tatin. I'm looking for a roughly 11-inch square. Can use this pot lid as a guide. A couple more passes and I think we'll be there. We are in a good spot. I'm going to take the opportunity to dock this dough because it provides more outlets for steam to escape. And so we get a more even rise overall. I'm gonna take a paring knife and I'm going to trace out this circle and simply pop this over and just kind of press along the edges very gently. And I'm gonna take the back of the spoon and just try and push down along the edge very gently. Because we pushed the apples in slightly after they came out of the oven, there's like a little bit of a lip there that allows the pie dough to drape over that space. And we're going to create a 1 to 1.5 inch incision, and that's gonna allow any residual steam to escape. This is gonna go into the freezer for about 30 minutes to really firm up the pie dough. All right, we're ready to bake. Start in a hot oven. So that's about 400-degree oven or 375 degrees with convection. It's gonna cook for around 25 minutes till the crust is nice and browned. Lower the temperature for roughly 15 minutes. For me, well baked, deep golden brown all around. While it's still hot, I'll tease the apples off the edges of the pan. It makes unmolding a little bit easier. So we have to let this cool down. I know it's really tempting to invert this immediately, but the caramel here is still liquidy. If we were to unmold this straight out of the oven, it would run everywhere. So in the interest of keeping like a really tight, uniform shape and preserving more of that caramel in the tart, it's really helpful to let this cool down. And so when it tightens up, the whole shape is preserved and it makes unmolding a little bit more seamless and we get a really nice shape at the end. So we've got our tart. Take the time to sort of tease the sides, and then you're gonna want a half sheet pan, a wire rack, and a blowtorch. You could also unmold using the stove, supplying a little bit of heat, and that's about it. We probably just need to pray, that's it. Place this wire rack on top and invert the pan. Supply some heat. I'm just heating up gently so that things will release. Give a check. I'm just kidding, it's fine. That is our Tarte Tatin, finally unmolded. It's nicely, deeply caramelized. These apples still look intact, but they're assuming a really tight conformation. I'm really happy with that result. I'm gonna let this cool down a little bit before we slice into it, and we'll continue on. So we're finally at the moment of truth. The end of our journey, we've got our baked, cooled Tarte Tatin. It looks pretty good. We can see that the caramel sauce has permeated through from edge to edge and sort of candied these apples in a really nice way. It almost feels like apple gummy bear sort of texture, a little bit chewy, a little bit tacky. And then as you head toward the center, it's more of a poached apple texture for sure. That was all because we took the time to really poach the apples in the caramel so it all married together. It's super classic to have crème fraîche with a Tarte Tatin, although I prefer just ice cream, but I'm not a traditionalist. I'm not French. Well, any day now. I got it. Whew. All right, and all we have left to do is taste it. And for that, I will invite my lovely colleague, Nick, up.
This is beautiful. Looks like quince. I don't think I've ever seen cooked apple with this beautiful, like reddish orange hue to it.
Yeah.
So this is 5 apples, 1 tart. I'm gonna do just tart first. Look at that. You can actually see layers in the crust. It's such a cool French caramel flavor to it. You get a little bit of acid, just a hint of bitterness. It's not overly sweet. The apples are tender, but they're not mushy, kind of fudgy in texture. I'm pretty outspoken about this. I hate cooked fruit. A lot of times like really mealy, but this is just like, it's gone and been cooked past that stage where it's just intensified, concentrated. And then with the crust, that still is a crust. Nice job, Tim.
I think we did it. That is Tarte Tatin. If you want to make all sorts of other pies, we've got apple pie, we've got pecan pie, corn pie, All that and more on ChefSteps.com. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. We've got apple cheddar biscuits. I don't actually think we have those. I'm just saying shit.
Subscribe to our channel and visit ChefSteps.com for more tips, recipes, guides, and tools to help you level up in the kitchen.